Um, just want to show you my vortex build. As you can see, I'm running these Clash cairns. I have this Spear Demon with Thorn Veil and Abyssal Army. Gonna run this very difficult map. It can be very deadly because it has reduced chance to block and a lot of cast speed, elemental weakness, all that good stuff, right? So basically I'm putting Beyond on it and I'm putting Bestiary. For experience I would do June, but I don't think my computer is going to handle that, especially when I'm recording.
Relics of a forbidden past, hidden ways, forgotten.
I want you to pay attention to my HP bar and see that I'm barely taking damage. The reason for that is because I'm running temporal chains.
When I'm ready, and not before. I need more mana.
They are coming.
So right there I took a lot of damage. That's because I'm doing this very difficult map with reduced chance to block. I usually don't run reduced chance to block maps, but this one was too juicy, so I thought maybe I should run it. Um, because my build has a lot of block, right? So it doesn't make sense to run uh, maps that can make you die. Um, especially since I'm not level 100. I didn't play much, so I didn't grind level 100. I'm like almost 99. Okay, so that was the gameplay. Now I'm gonna talk about the build. Like the reason why you saw me in that map taking a lot of damage was because the map had a lot of damage modifiers and also had reduced chance to block, and my build uses a lot of block. So that is why sometimes you saw my energy shield dropping very low. But generally, if you don't do that dangerous maps, your energy shield will never drop that low. Um, I usually don't run maps with reduced chance to block or crit multi or less effect of curses. But for this showcase, I did it anyway because I don't want to die, right? I'm like level 98, 70%. Now let's explain the build. This build is the min-maxed version. Um, it involves a lot of gem swapping, but because of the items that I have and the gems, I don't have to um, worry about gem swapping when doing conquerors or map bosses, but only for like Sirius and Elder Shaper stuff like that. Um, so let's go over the build real quick. I have Enfeeble with Frostbite and Temporal Chains with Blasphemy. The reason why I have Blasphemy is because um, from this node here I have 15% increase of curses. From here I have another 10%. I have 10% from the gem itself, 10% from Blasphemy, and then I have 25% from my Ascendancy. Um, so that puts me at 75%, 70% increase of effect of curses. But also, if I'm counting that I have curses on enemies in Orcharding area, I have increased 15% effect of curses, I would be at 85%. But I'm assuming that the monsters are already dead while they are uh, before they enter in the cursed area, right? So I'm just counting at 70%. So that means temporal chains will lower their action speed for the normal and magic monsters. They'll lower their action speed by 50%, and for about 25% for the rare and unique monsters, right? The same goes for Enfeeble. Like 20 unique monsters and rare monsters deal like 25% less damage and like 50% less damage if they are magic or normal monsters, which makes me very tanky. And on top of that, it's Frostbite. Now, you would question because I don't have Malevolence on me, right? I don't use Malevolence for mapping. Well, Malevolence only gives me like 20% more damage, whereas this Frostbite, it gives me like minus 49, but this is without the increased effect of curses, right? Like without the 70% increase effect of curses, or maybe 85% depending on how you want to calculate it. So this 50% cold res turns out to be around 80. So that's eight, if the enemies have minus 80% cold resistance, that's more than 20% that I would get from my malevolence, right? So this boosts me a lot, my damage by quite a lot. So if you don't want to run triple curses, you just drop temporal chains, keep the enfeeble and the frostbite. Because what happens is if if you have temporal chains and not enfeeble, even though they attack slower, they can still hit you, right? And when they hit you, they hit hard. So you don't want to die, right? Because if you don't die, because enfeeble makes them deal less damage, that means you have a very high chance of recovering your energy shield very quickly and surviving. Whereas with temporal chains, you only rely on them not hitting you so that you don't die. Because if they hit you, you can still die. So I would say for the third curse, use temporal chains. The most important one is frostbite and enfeeble. These two are the most important ones that you should use. Now, one thing that I could do is I could put discipline has increased my reservation efficiency, but since I'm not playing that much and I don't want to grind the labyrinth, uh, I just put 1 point here, and if I need another point for bosses, I can just use a normal frigate. It's not that big of a deal. Like for a serious fight or something, if I really want another, I don't know, 200 energy shield, I can just respec. but I don't do that because I'm too lazy. Basically, if you don't have a helmet like mine with increased mana reservation efficiency of skills, you just spend one more point here for clarity and one here for discipline, and that's pretty much it. This is a passive tree. This is how it looks like. Um, this jewel here it's a bit expensive. It costs like 3-4 exalts. I don't know. And these ones like they're 20-30 kills. I have a jewel with corrupted blood cannot be inflicted on you. Right here. Um, Other than that, these nodes here with the skill increase the efficiency and the effect of auras. Um, I'm not sure if auras from your skills have 15% decrease effect on you. I don't think that works with the curses. I'm assuming it doesn't, but I just took it for my, because like when I'm bossing the malevolence, I'm gen swapping. So basically, let's say I'm fighting a boss, I'm putting malevolence. I put the elemental weakness punishment and the tempest shield, and I'm dropping temporal chains, I'm dropping enfeeble, and I'm dropping blasphemy, and I'm also dropping the phase run. Now the reason why I'm dropping phase run, because like I just use it for mapping, because if I didn't have phase run here, I would use punishment, right? Punishment, it's very good for bosses because it gives you like 50% increased effect of increased damage taken on unique bosses, right? When they are below 50% HP, something like that. I think it's even more than 50%, but let's just say it's 50%. Um, so I'm just doing gem swapping when I'm bossing. Uh, I have the culling strike here instead of faster attacks, and I linked it with the frost bomb. Um, Elemental weakness, punishment, tempest shield. I'm putting tempest shield. I also have an aspect. I run tempest shield, clarity, discipline, aspect of the spider, and malevolence. And then when I'm gem swapping, I have this awakened swift affliction here, which I'm leveling it, and I put here instead of faster casting. So basically, when I'm mapping, I just uh, put faster casting on
When
my
I'm
cold
ready
snap.
and not
The reason
before.
for that is because it's just you just cast it much faster, right, while mapping. So that's a lot of quality of life. I'll go over my items real quick. And one thing that I should emphasize is getting a lot of strength so that you can wear Sinvictus metal, and also that you can use Steel Skin. Steel Skin is very good because it helps you against bleeding. Um, and Sinvicta is just a lot of is for mapping is probably the best. Rampage is the best thing you can do for mapping because it gives you a lot of clear and a lot of movement speed. So let's go over the gem setups real quick. So here, shield charge, faster attacks, frost bomb, elemental focus with creeping frost, vortex, control destruction, swift affliction, and empower level 4. You don't need empower level 4. You can put cruelty or hypothermia, whichever one you like. You can even put efficiency if you really want it. But now empower is the best for like a min max build. Then you have clarity. I just use I put vol clarity just because when I'm running triple auras, I have a lot of keys left. Um, but anyway, I don't really use vol clarity that much. I don't really need it to be honest. Uh, Here I have vol cold snap with bone shield, elemental focus, and faster casting. The reason why I'm using bone shield is because um, when I'm applying cold snap, the enemies will get 30% shield. When they get 30% shield, that means they take 30% increased damage from cold damage and damage over time. So it doesn't really help my wall calls them that much, but it also combines with Creeping Frost and Vortex. Basically, on my second key, I have Frost Bomb, which I'm applying it to lower the resistances by 20%, and then I'm using Creeping Frost. Creeping Frost, I rarely use it for mapping. Maybe when I have Cold Snap on cooldown and also Vortex on cooldown, I just use Creeping Frost because I have it there. But basically, I'm using it for bosses. It's same damage as Vortex, and then I have Vortex and then Cold Snap on top of it. I'm using Frost Shield. Frost Shield is very, very good, especially for bosses. You should definitely use it and have it linked with increased area of effect. And then I also have here my Steel Skin. Um,
When I'm ready and not before.
the gear, it's, I don't know if I should say it's good gear, because basically it's very difficult to find gear like this on the market, and the reason why is because very few people play with this. Um, so you kind of have to craft it yourself. It's not going to be very expensive, maybe 2-3 exalts for the boots. If you want that much much energy shield and resistances, right? If you can lower your resistances and the energy shield, you don't really spend that much to craft boots like this. Here the rings. I just happened to get attack speed on this ring, so I kept it because it helps my shield charge, but it's not that big of a deal. I put aspect of the spider on it. The gloves, you don't have to craft gloves with uh, increased cold. Socketed gems deal 30% more damage over time, and the reason why is because um, it's kind of difficult to get high energy shield gloves with also cold damage over time and socketed gems deal more damage over time. Because if you put socketed gems deal 30% more damage over time, first of all, it's going to be very expensive. Because the essence of delirium, I guess it's called, it's going to be like 20-30 kills every time, and it's going to be very difficult to get something good. And you also need an anti-suffix, um, which gives you a chance to avoid being stunned. So you just buy some hunter gloves and just spam frigid and then swastika until you hit something good, and then you have an empty suffix craft just to avoid being stunned. Just to avoid being stunned here on my helmet and here on my body armor. One thing is on my body armor I have elemental elements, and just to avoid being stunned. The reason why I have that is because um, here I have another 25%, so that makes me stun immune, which means I don't have to take this via Bastion. I can use Profane Bloom, Malediction, and Frigid Wake, more damage. If you don't have Recover Energy Shield on kill on your War Regalia, just get Soul Thief here. You spend another 3 points. My shield, you don't need a Recover Energy Shield on block. You just don't. Like, it's expensive, it's not that great, and you don't need it, right? Um, I choose to go with faster start of energy shield recharge. I have some avoid elemental elements and chance to block. Um, Also here I have 1% chance to block attack damage per 5% chance to block unequipped shield. So that gives me, I guess, another 7% chance to block attack damage. Um, I have some block notes here. Mage Hunter, Conjured Ball, and some spell block. This right here, I should divine it further to get like 40 with 8% chance to block spell damage, but it's not that significant. I guess you can you pay like 1x for this jewel. It's for not that expensive, to be honest. Here I have another faster start of energy shield recharge. So if I go on my defenses, let's see if it says, yeah, so it says 177. Uh, so At is that like 2 divided by 2 point,
When I'm ready. What now?
it's like divided by 2.7 or 1.7, I don't know. It's like, anyway, it's like 0.8 seconds or something like that on my energy shield recharge. Um, the amulet, I have allocated tranquility +2 and some stats. It's very important that you get stats. As you can see, it's citrine amulet because it gives me strength and the dexterity. I also have crafted strength and dexterity, and I also have +25 all attributes. I got lucky with this amulet. Also has increased dexterity, but basically, if you don't get lucky, you just spend points here and here. And maybe you don't get the jewel with increased damage, but instead you get like one with uh, and here instead of attack speed you get like dexterity or strength or something, just so that you get um, enough dex and strength, because this build doesn't have dex and doesn't have strength, and it's very important you get strength because when you're mapping you're swapping gems. So that's pretty much the build. The flask, Romi's concoction, taste of fate, jade flask with increased movement speed because that's how I got it, and here I have increased evasion rating and reduced effect of curses. uh, that's pretty much it. I'm stun immune, I'm chill, I'm elemental element immune. The wand costs around 5 extra to craft it. The body armor is like 6-7 exalts, something like that. Maybe 10 if you get really unlucky. Um, doesn't use any unique. You can craft all the gear yourself. It's good league starter. Um, as you can see, I'm very tanky. That map, I took a lot of damage just because it was the very dangerous map and had reduced chance to block, which I normally don't run, but I did it for the video anyway. And it also had like Beyond Abysses, uh, Metamorphs, very very difficult map.